We didn't just bring the plants, we brought the people who grow them. Join us for a quick look at the incredible vendors who made our Saturday festival kickoff so special.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Lamb with Trees of Corrales. And just to give you a little background on Trees of Corrales, we are I should say, we started as a B&B tree farm, and that's why it is called Trees of Corrales back in 1976, and then expanded into doing a little bit of everything, from flowering perennials to ornamental grasses and shrubs and container trees, and we have all the B&B trees as well. We do some seasonal color just a little bit in the fall, and so we kind of do a little bit of everything now and really have a plant palette that is designed for the kind of greater Albuquerque area and beyond. We do try to focus on a lot of plants that are cold hardy, at least to zone 5, if not better than that. And our our location in Corrales and Albuquerque in general is very, very similar to Prescott. So these plants really, uh, you know, the zones match up. They do excellent for you. And, one of the things with Trees of Corrales is that we do take pride in having tough, low water, um, a great tough, low water xeric selection and plants that are going to be successful for the home gardener. Um, So I'm going to talk about a few different things. You guys are all familiar with penstemons. There's so many varieties of penstemons out there. And if you are a hummingbird lover, other pollinators, but especially for the hummingbirds, penstemons are a great plant to have mixed with other flowering salvias, hummingbird mints, things like that. But your penstemons, a lot of them are going to give you different bloom times. So I'm going to just go through a series of them here. These ones are really cool, these little ones. So you got the red pine leaf penstemon, and there's a yellow flowering variety as well. These are awesome little evergreen penstemons. They're about a foot by a foot roughly. So they're just this small statured little evergreen. When they bloom, they just get covered with these little kind of classic tubular looking penstemon flowers. Um, the evergreen aspect on these pine leaf penstemons is just what makes them a really nice choice and great seasons of color. Just to go over a few more. So this has been cut back and is flushing back out, but this is one of the hybrid penstemons called Red Rocks of Mexicali. These have a really long bloom time. Some penstemons, once they bloom, if you're not, really diligent about cutting back those flower stalks immediately, you're not going to necessarily get a second flush. The Mexicali penstemons, not only do they do a second flush and kind of continue to bloom longer than most varieties, they'll do that second flush without you having to really do any maintenance. If you did go through and give them a nice trim, they would bloom even more profusely. This Red Rocks is a really nice kind of magenta or really nice kind of deeper pink. There are other colored varieties of these. There's a purple one that we have called Pike's Peak, and great for your long bloom time with your penstemons. A couple more real quick, just true natives. The Rocky Mountain penstemon, which is your kind of your classic, it's a purple flower, would be an excellent one for higher elevation as well, but would do great down here in the Prescott area. And then your firecracker penstemon, which is just kind of your classic red. Now there's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of species of penstemon, but these ones do really well for us in this region. So moving on, kind of same thing. Talk about some more really low water and xeric plants. A lot of you are probably familiar with this gray creeping germander. There are a few different uh, species names used for this plant. There's a few different common names used for this plant, but this variety of this ground cover germander is just an excellent choice. All seasons of interest. It stays evergreen. It gets beautiful pink flowers all over the plant. Gets to be about maybe 6 inches or so tops, and then can easily go 2 to 3 feet wide. Super, super fragrant flowers and excellent for pollinators. The evergreen aspect of this plant and what it looks like in the wintertime is one of its best features. And this is just a phenomenal plant. Everybody should have this in their yard. And again, so if we're growing it at Trees of Corrales for the most part, it's something that's going to do really well. It's going to be plants that are successful in the landscape. They're going to be successful um, in multiple zones, cold hardy, drought tolerant. This one, everybody knows the dianthus are super fragrant. This is just your classic fire witch, and they are spring bloomers. They kind of have this grass-like foliage, which is really nice. They can stay evergreen to semi-evergreen, depending on how cold we get. But the coolest thing about all the dianthus, and especially this one, is they smell like spice, or like a spice scented, or kind of clove scented, or something like that. And they really, if you haven't smelled them, do so, because they're just awesome in terms of the fragrance. Talking about fragrance, this chocolate flower is a true native, um, full sun, hot, dry conditions, can survive very well in conditions that a lot of other plants may not be successful for you in your landscape. So if you have those areas, even if it's farther out, you don't have a lot of water or a irrigation to them, these will do excellent for you. The flower smells like chocolate in the morning. And this plant's just flushing and waking up, so it doesn't have a ton of flowers. There's some buds coming on here, but in the morning, all these flowers are going to be upright and perky, and you're going to smell that chocolate scent. Later in the afternoon, the flowers kind of get a little bit of a droop to them. And then the following morning, you'll go by the plant and they perk right back up and they smell wonderful. Um, Smaller statured plant, probably about a foot tall, maybe a foot and a half, and then about a foot and a half to 2 foot wide would be a good size one. The nice thing about these, and this goes with a lot of perennials, but this chocolate flower, especially if it looks a little bit ratty after it's bloomed like crazy for you early in the season, you can just cut it back and it'll flush right back out, rebloom like crazy. And you could do that multiple times in a season. Super, super easy care. Once you have these, they may reseed on you. Um, that's something to be aware of. But if you have the right situation, this is just an excellent plant. Very, very tough, very low water, very, very drought tolerant. Another one that's a really good drought tolerant plant is this desert 4 o'clock. Really nice pink flowers on it. Open up late in the evening, where it gets its name 4 o'clock, or late in the afternoon when the sun goes down. Those flowers open up, and you'll have pollinators like the hummingbird moths all over them. You'll have hummingbirds hitting them early in the morning before the flowers close up, and then also late in the day. This has a really nice tuberous root on it, and once you have this in and it's in your landscape and rooted in, you should have this plant forever. It gets to be about a foot and a half or so tall, maybe a little taller, and can easily go 2 to 3 foot plus wide. You'll see this plant growing on hillsides under junipers, but you'll see it out in the full baking hot sun. Very, very tough low water plant, and not commonly found. This one you just don't see very often in the industry. Another really cool native is this showy milkweed. Now, this is just waking up. It's ahead of the outside world. The Asclepias, the milkweeds probably would not be pushing up quite yet. This one is coming out of a slightly warmer house, and so it's already awake. Now, they will form a bigger colony over time. They'll run from rhizome, from root runner. They get to be 3, 4 foot plus in height and get this big pink showy flower on it. Beautiful milkweed flower on it. Great pollinator plant, absolutely amazing pollinator plant. But the awesome thing about this, and especially in New Mexico, being a native there for us, this is there's two species that are really, really good host plants for the monarch caterpillar. The showy milkweed is one of them. But it's a nice big plant with a big pink flower on it, big ball flower on it. Absolutely gorgeous. This is low water once established, but it would fare better on a regular drip, or a place where it's getting regular water, but is going to be very, very low water once it gets rooted in and established. You often see these on roadsides where when it rains, it gets a little bit of excess water. And so that's kind of where in nature you'll see these. Um, Phenomenal plant, and awesome that it's a host plant for the monarch caterpillar. So many salvias out there. There's so many salvia gregii out there, hybrids and things like that. The two that we have kind of consistently done is the Furman's Red, which is your classic cherry sage, your classic red, and then this ultraviolet, which is kind of a purple with these kind of silvery shimmers in it, but a really nice one. The reason why I wanted to show these is because these are two varieties of Salvia gregii, the autumn sage, that we are shipping into the Southwest Colorado market, places like Durango, like true zone fives. A lot of these are kind of on that zone 7. They might be a 6. There's some varieties, hybrids like the microphylla that are kind of a zone 7, zone 8 mix. But the ultraviolet and the Furman's Red, we consistently are sending into mountain towns and areas at higher elevation, and they've been very successful for people. So just a little bit more cold tolerance if you have customers that are higher elevation. These would be good choices for them. Couple more here. There's tons of varieties of Anothera, the primroses. This one's it is ahead of the outside world right now. They wouldn't be this awake. It's cool when this first wakes up. It has these red hues to the foliage when it's first pushing out of the soil because it dies all the way back. Um, this is a variety called Shimmer, and really it's the foliage. The yellow flower is gorgeous, but the foliage is just a different characteristic for a primrose. Just makes kind of a neat specimen. These are lower growers, kind of clump forming, so you're going to have a nice variety. There's some varieties of primrose, like the New Mexican primrose, that will spread and run. These guys stay put in their place, but just kind of a neat character and a neat texture and flow and all that to this. Everyone knows the classic moonshine yarrow, nice yellow yarrow. There are a lot of yellow flowering varieties of yarrow. This one has just been one of the most popular, and it's because of that really nice gray foliage that it has, and then that nice big yellow flower that comes off it. Probably one of the most common varieties or kind of sought after varieties of yarrow, really used heavily in landscapes. Does great in so many different conditions as yarrow does. But yeah, moonshine's just a really nice one. And the contrast of grayish green foliage with the yellow is a nice character that it has. This one's a cool one. We also grow one called paprika, and this sangria, about I don't know if it was 20-25 years ago or something, there was a crop of paprika which has a little yellow into that red flower, if you're familiar with that yarrow, and this sangria came up. And so the grower at the time, they took that plant aside and they started propagating it. And so this sangria yarrow, this nice pretty red variety of Achillea millefolium, just kind of your classic native yarrow, the white yarrow, if you're familiar with it, up into the mountains and a little bit higher elevation. This was a selection of paprika that then became sangria. And so Trees of Corrales, this is kind of exclusive to TOC. There are a few other varieties of red yarrow out there, but you're only going to find this sangria from us. Nobody else has this.
Community is what grows the best gardens. Thank you to our amazing vendors and everyone who spent their Saturday with us. We're open 7 days a week to help your garden thrive. Come see us.